25 minutes to 7 on this Friday morning. Here it is, Morning News today. It is the morning after President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address. Well, to help us digest everything, eNCA's Vuyo Mvoko is hosting a breakfast this morning. The meeting is being attended by political and business leaders. Well, Samkele Maseko is there already, the early bird, as they say this morning. Sam, a very good morning to you. Let's chat a little bit about, what the president had to say last night and what he might, what the concerns might be this morning. The big focus was expected to be, yes, SOEs. He spoke about Eskom, criticism that he didn't speak enough about SAA, he didn't speak enough about the SABC. So let's talk about his plans and where we are this morning after all of this.
Yes, indeed, Viveka. They say that the earliest bird who wakes up early catches the fattest worm. But we're all here for the eNCA's breakfast this morning with business leaders, with political analysts, and those who may be in the political circles after President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address yesterday with huge dreams. But I'm just going to step out of shot so my colleague Crisendo can just show you the setup, where our panelists, whom will be seated with alongside Vuyo Mvoko, our political editor and anchor, whom will be hosting this breakfast. There will be Minister of Public Enterprises Pravin Gordhan, as we are speaking about state-owned enterprises, and specifically Eskom, which is the biggest threat to the South African economy, in the words of President Cyril Ramaphosa. Then there will be Business Unity South Africa President Sipho Pichane. Then there will be political analysts Asanda and Karima Brown, who form amongst the panelists, and many other members of civic society, unions, labor, who will be engaging the president's speech specifically on issues of Eskom, the revival of the economy, which was pretty much very thin in details on how the South African economy could be revived. But he did have some huge plans and dreams that he wants to be fulfilled within the next 10 years. That would be the building of a new smart city, interestingly inspired by Xi Jinping, the president of China, NC's Deputy Secretary General Jesse Duarte, the Minister of COCTA, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, that would be Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, and the Minister of Higher Education and the Minister of International Relations, rather there. I'm thinking of previous preferred, that would be Dr. Naledi Pandor. So the president has huge dreams. Question is, will these new dreams be realized? The bullet train, the building of a new smart city inspired by President Xi Jinping, is looking at the model of Beijing in China.
But I suppose, Sam, this morning, many will be questioning, we have so many other things to fix at the moment. Unless those things, yes, are going to go a long way towards creating jobs like he wants to do. I mean, they would be saying, shouldn't we be using this money or putting this effort into fixing what's wrong at the moment?
Yes, indeed. People are asking, where is this money going to come from for this new smart city? We did pose the question to the Public Works Minister on the infrastructure. That would be Patricia de Lille, whom we asked, where will this money to build this new smart city, to build this new bullet train come from, saying that there would be foreign direct investment into the country. There would also be local investor into the project. It will be a collaboration of all sectors of society. It would be a first time in post-apartheid South African democratic dispensation that a whole new city has been built by the administration. We spoke to the Economic Freedom Fighters leader and CIC, Julius Malema, who spoke extensively about the matter, saying it's embarrassing that in the past 25 years of democracy, the democratic dispensation has not built any new city of its own. Then you've got highly concentrated and highly dense cities like Pretoria, like Johannesburg, and the highly dense Gauteng, which is arguably the biggest voting bloc in the country alongside KwaZulu-Natal. So the president is basically wanting a bullet train to cut across about 4 or 5 provinces in the country. You heard him saying that you will have the bullet train moving from the Eastern Cape, going to Durban, moving towards Musina in Limpopo.
Okay, well, I suppose, the cynics out there will say, we can't even get an ordinary train to function in the country. A bullet train, is that really a dream? But we'll wait and see. Let's not sound too negative and skeptical. So this breakfast this morning, you've told us who's on the panel. I'm looking at some of the guests here. So a nice mix, I suppose, of when it comes to analysts, when it comes to business, when it comes to civil society as well, Sam.
Yes, indeed, it's a nice mix. You've got SAFTU, who's going to be here. That would be the new federation, the South African Federation of Trade Unions. They're going to be represented. Last I checked on the panel, there was also going to be representatives from South Africa's biggest trade union. That would be the Congress of South African Trade Unions, COSATU. There will be civic society movements are part of the panelists. There will be those within the business fraternity represented by BUSA President Sipho Pichano, who's been very critical of the past administration that we've had in the country for the past 10 years, and a huge critic of former President Jacob Zuma. He's also been some sort of a critic in this dispensation of President Cyril Ramaphosa. He's not yet been going out guns blazing like he did with former President Jacob Zuma, but it would be interesting what the Minister of Public Enterprises, Pravin Gordhan, has to say, because you've seen state-owned enterprises in some sort of a turmoil. You've got Eskom, you've got its CEO, Pagamani Khatebo, who's just resigned about a month ago. He's serving his notice within that parastatal. You've got the resignation of Janara when you look at the South African Airways, which is also bankrupt and not making a profit. For instance, in the last budget speech delivered by the Minister of Finance, Tito Mboweni, he was very clear and unambiguous when he said that SAA at this point in time is not making a profit, and it's a burden onto the South African fiscus and to the South African budget. Also saying that more tougher decisions need to be taken in state-owned enterprises. I quote him: "There will be no holy cows in the dealing of SOEs." End of quote. That was Minister Tito Mboweni in his last budget speech. It would be interesting how he will put together his budget speech this year, looking at the issues and the financial strain that Eskom is facing. They also have their balance sheet is not properly balancing. You've got SAA, which is failing to stay afloat when it comes to their finances and unable to keep their monies in check. They've been receiving government bailouts year on year. Then you've got the SABC, the South African Broadcasting Corporation, which is also going through a financial crisis and needs a bailout. You've got Tito Mboweni's team within Treasury going and engaging with every department within the SABC, trying to find out what the financial crisis caused by what the SABC is currently facing through. You've got the city of Johannesburg, which has been threatening to cut off their lights. So these are the many issues that Tito Mboweni has to play with, that the president has to play with. But more interestingly, there is policy issues. The nationalization of the South African Reserve Bank, you've seen the spat there between the governing party Secretary General Ace Magashule and the ANC's leadership, such as Enoch Godongwana, prompting the president to come out and speak on this particular matter. And Tito Mboweni as well, voicing out his opinion. The president never went into detail or never touched at all on the issue of the nationalization of the South African Reserve Bank. Then you've got issues of land expropriation without compensation, which would be the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution, which the president also didn't touch, and which will be the question that will be posed here by our anchor and the host of this breakfast. That would be our political editor, Vuyo Mvoko.
Okay, we'll wait to see.